Welcome to Transforming and Thriving
with best friends Brooke, Stacie, and Neelia.
Podcast dedicated to women sharing their inspirational stories. Hey everyone, we're so excited to give back to our community. We're partnering with the Wellness and Prevention Center in South Orange County, an incredible group supporting youth and families with mental health services. They've just opened an Alcove Center in San Juan Capistrano, California, which is a safe space where young people between 12 to 25 years old can find support for their mental health, connect with peers, and get guidance with school or work. Here's how you can help. We'll be matching up to $1,000 in donations from our listeners. Every dollar goes directly to creating brighter futures for local youth. Check out the link in our show notes to donate. Follow WPCOC on Instagram and learn more at alcove.org. That's ALLCOVE.org. Together, we can make a real difference.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode. I'm Neelia.
And I'm Stacie. We are so excited to have a return guest on the podcast today, back by popular demand. We have with us today Erin Koppel, who was initially on our podcast, episode 8. The episode was called Perseverance in Overcoming the Loss of a Parent, interview with Erin Koppel on losing her dad to cancer as a young girl. Today, she's back to share more, but on a completely different topic with us that so many people can relate to. On a personal note, just a little about Erin. I met her at Club Pilates, where I've been teaching as a Pilates instructor for 9 years now. She's a manager there. Unfortunately, we don't work in the same studio anymore. I'm very sad. I miss seeing her smiling face all the time. But Erin is a light. We connected instantly when we met, and since then, she has just brought such positive energy to Club Pilates. In addition to being a studio manager there, she's a level 2 Lagree Instructor at Trim Fitness Studio. I took a class there and she kicked my ASS. So if anyone's local and you want to go, she's an amazing instructor. She has a bachelor's degree in kinesiology with an emphasis on clinical movement. She's also working on her nutritional coaching certification. She was born and raised in New Jersey and has been living in California since she graduated high school. I'm thrilled to have her on the podcast again today. The last episode was truly inspiring.
I really appreciate you being here again today. I just wanted to quickly share that your last episode, I was enamored by how you spoke, and I felt like I was in your living room with your family. So I appreciate you coming again and joining us. How are you today, Erin?
Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm doing good. Getting married a week from tomorrow, so I've been scatterbrained planning this wedding and working and doing all the things, but it's all positive, so it's good.
Well, thanks for being here a week before your wedding. Oh my gosh.
I know.
And congratulations. I'm so excited for you. I know we've chatted a little bit about it. Yeah, very, very happy for you and to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, let's dive right in. What comes to mind when you think back to an experience that has had a profound impact on you?
Yeah, so I don't think it's like one specific experience. It's kind of something I've noticed as I've been getting older. I'm turning 31 in February, and I've just noticed kind of the society norms, if you will. You know, people say you should be married by 25, having children, and you're supposed to be somewhere in life. And I feel like even though it's not as heavily pushed in today's world, I guess, I still feel like a lot of women feel the pressure and the judgment of not being somewhere that they're supposed to be. I have changed my career path probably 3 times in my 20s. And I'm proud of myself for taking the leap and being able to say, this isn't for me and I'm going to do something else. But I feel like I find people are surprised, like, you don't have children, or you don't, you're not married, or they look at me and I look very young, and people are always shocked when I say that I'm almost 31. So I feel like the treatment also is different just based on the way that I look and things like that. So I feel like all of that has just been very present in my recent years, the last, I would say, 3 years I've noticed it. And so it's something I wanted to talk about because I feel like nobody maybe shares that much about it, but I feel like people could relate to it, if that makes sense.
100%. And it sounds incredibly challenging. It's one thing to feel that internal pressure, but to also face external judgment, not only about your beautiful young appearance, which is interesting, but your life choices that must have been somewhat hurtful. Could you tell us a little bit more about what it was like to confront those stereotypes that people had about you?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because I remember the first time I really felt it, and it was actually when I started working at Club Pilates, and I became the manager actually at the Dana Point location where Stacie and I met. And I remember the members were asking, like, "Oh, you're the new manager," and it was this tone of voice, like, "You, you're the manager." And I'm like, "Yes." And I felt like I came in confident, and I felt like I was trained and I knew what I was talking about, but it was almost like they looked at me and saw someone who they didn't feel was right for the role, even though they didn't know me. And I felt like that was the first time I really saw, like, wow, I'm kind of being judged before getting the chance to know one another. And as I continued my role there, I mean, I loved all the members and we always got along great and they treated me with nothing but respect and vice versa. But it took them a second to get there. And it was very interesting because I was like, wow, I've never really truly felt that way before. And in the past, before I started working at Club Pilates, I was working at a physical therapy clinic for like 6 years. And I really grew there. And I feel like I didn't feel it as much there because I started at the bottom. I was a physical therapy aide and I worked my way up. So by year 5, I was managing a whole clinic, but I had already built my relationship with everybody. So no one really treated me differently. But I remember the owner of that clinic, we were in a meeting one time and chatting back and forth, and he was like, "Yeah, there's certain qualities that make a leader." And one of the things he said was, "It's like the way that you dress, the way that you present yourself." And if anyone knows me, I am a casual woman. I will wear workout clothes till the day I die. I will wear sweatpants. Like I am just very casual, and I don't feel like the way that I look or dress should have anything to do with how I'm treated. But I remember those are like the first instances of, wow, I'm seeing this kind of change in demeanor and change in the way that I'm being treated when I'm first being met. And so then I thought, okay, how am I going to process this? And at first it was like a huge insecurity. Like I would get defensive, and then I finally brought it up in therapy and I've been working on it ever since.
Wow. Well, I'm so sorry that you've had to experience that. And it sounds like, I mean, it's almost like you had this completely different experience once you started at Club Pilates because you're going into this new environment where you have to prove yourself, or you feel like you have to prove yourself because these people don't know you. Whereas in the previous place at your physical therapy center, they saw you kind of work your way up. So they had a history with you.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like that made such a huge difference. And I'm totally identifying with what you're saying. I think it's something a lot of people can identify with in some capacity, having had some sort of like judgments based on their appearance or their age. And my heart goes out to you that you've had to deal with that. And I'm curious to hear a little bit more. What are some of the things that maybe helped you to cope with that? I know you mentioned going to therapy helped, which thank you so much for being open about that as well. What are some of the other things, maybe like self-talk, things you did for yourself or support you sought from other people? What kind of helped you to handle and navigate that in the beginning?
I feel like being able to identify that that was starting to be an insecurity of mine was super helpful. I think that's the hardest part. It's taking that first step and admitting, okay, why am I getting defensive? Why am I reacting or responding this way? And in a sense, I'm like, I'm flattered. You think I'm in my early 20s? Like, thank you. That means when I'm 40, you'll think I'm in my early 30s. And I'm just going to hopefully snowball that way as well. But I also just feel like I'm a woman. I'm a human being. I've been through a lot in my life. And no matter what, no matter how old I actually am or how old you think I am, I still deserve respect and I still deserve to be treated as a human. And my fiance, he has 2 children of his own. And I felt like when I was starting to even get into that world, it was like, what is my role? Who am I to these children and who am I in this family? And it really comes down to just being confident. So I had to make sure I it was a lot of self-talk, yes. And dealing with in therapy, my therapist kind of helped me realize why is it an insecurity and how can I change that reflection? And so when people are talking and they're like, "Oh, well, how old are you?" and I'm like, "I'm 31." And they're like, "You are? Oh my goodness." And they have this like reaction. I'm like, "I know, great skin runs in my family, like thanks to my mom." And making a joke and just making it lighthearted. I can't help the way other people think or what they say or how they speak with people, but I can help the way that I respond to it. And so that's just something I've been trying to work on. I can't change anybody else, but I can always change the way that I respond to anyone around me. And if I want to be treated with respect, I will be doing the same thing for other people.
I love that. I love that you take ownership of your actions versus not, ownership of how other people speak to you. And I think that is a very important message that a lot of people tend to forget, especially me. And so I'm super excited. You mentioned how you are engaged to a man with 2 children of his own. How did your journey of navigating those societal expectations about marriage and kids prepare you for this new and beautiful family dynamic?
So it's funny because I have to share that I met my fiance on Hinge, and I always joke that I never would have swiped on him if I saw that he had children because I did not think that that was something, again, society norms, right? Like you get married, you have children, and you raise a family together. It should be your first time together, or not, it should be, but that's how people make it seem, right? And so when I did swipe on him and we were chatting back and forth, he said, "Hey, I don't know if you saw my profile, but, I have 2 children. I know that's a deal breaker for some people. And so I just wanted you to know." And I just remember feeling like, oh, okay, well, we're just going on one date. Like it's not going to go anywhere. It's no big deal. And obviously, almost 3 years later, we're getting married. I could not see my life without those kids. I'm actually so happy that my life didn't turn out to be the way society tries to make women feel like it should be. I'm very proud of him and the kid's mom for knowing that they weren't right for each other and separating and still being able to co-parent and raise 2 beautiful children together. And on top of that, being able to welcome me into that dynamic and getting to learn about how to raise children and how to love and care for them. And it's taught me patience and it's really given me confidence. I feel like when Austin and I are ready to have a child of our own, I'm going to be more ready because of them. And so, even though, again, that's not what I thought I wanted my life to be, I'm happy that it turned out this way because I'm able to be a part of something that's actually so much more beautiful than I ever could have thought.
That is so beautiful. It sounds like just the way you're describing him, he has done such a thoughtful and mindful job of introducing you into his life and his children's lives. So I kudos to him and to you for entering it with such grace and openness and love. I just think that's beautiful and a great foundation to start with. I'm very excited to hear more about, where you guys go in the future. And yeah, just very happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. What I guess more recently, if you think about your journey entering the relationship with him and navigating being a bonus mom, what have been some of the challenges you've faced with that? And I guess what has helped you to make choices that align with what is best for you and your new family?
So in the beginning, I felt like the challenge was not knowing my place. And especially in the beginning, because I was just the girlfriend who, we took a while for me to meet them. It was a very slow introduction just because they were 5 at the time. And we wanted to make sure that he and I were serious and this was going somewhere because we would never want me to get close to the kids and then we don't work out, that early on. So it was very slow introduction, which was nice for me and for them, obviously. But I was able to just kind of get to know them slowly and we got to do fun things together. And it kept Austin and I like on a nice path. I feel like we didn't rush into things too quickly, just knowing that there are kids involved, but we knew how we felt about each other within the first week of dating. And so as we continued to get more serious and then especially like moving in together, I always want to make sure that I'm being respectful to him and the kid's mom. They have 2 wonderful parents who love them and would do anything for them. And I never want to overstep. I always want to make sure I'm being respectful of their wishes and they are mom and dad. And so in the beginning, there's always, when I say the beginning, I mean when we had moved in together and we knew that we were going to be spending the rest of our lives together, I wanted to always make sure how can I respect them but still like have authority. And that was kind of something to navigate. And again, comes back to, I feel like everything that I'm talking about today, it's just having the confidence in who I am and knowing that I am an adult figure in their life and they should respect me and I'm going to respect them. And it's always about their safety and their well-being. And I am a part of their growing up and I'm teaching them things and how to be little kids in this world and how to grow up. And so that was pretty challenging for me because I never knew my place. And I was like, how can I help them grow, be someone that they can come to, also respect mom and dad and all the things. But I think what really helped with that is that their mom and I grew a relationship separate. And that was on her. I give her full credit for that. I wanted to meet her. She wanted to meet me. When we finally did, we just developed our own friendship. And I think it's so beautiful all around, especially for the kids. We all show up for sports and we show up for birthdays and Christmas and all the holidays, and we're able to just like spend all that time together and have a relationship. And I just think for the well-being of the children that it's so nice and beautiful. And it's also cool because I gained a friend and we have things in common that we get to chat about. And I feel like she's also helping me learn like what it is to be a mom. And I joke with her all the time that when I have my own babies, she'll be there for me because I will have no idea what I'm doing at the ages below 5. So it was really just all about getting confident and being secure in who I am and knowing that I am a genuine person. I'm empathetic. I am caring. I don't ever want to overstep. I don't ever want to take the place of a parent. That's not my intention ever. I am just an extra body for them to love and lean on and care about. And I think that's like a beautiful thing.
I am so impressed with what you have been able to share and learn with your experience and how you've been able to basically connect all the dots and, live happily and co-parenting, but also be respectful of their wishes and not maybe overstepping some boundaries, but then also creating a new friendship within that family dynamic. And I know you're not the only one who has experienced this because I've heard of this before. And I was curious, in your opinion, what would you say to someone else who is feeling a similar sense of those pressures or being able to blend families? Like, what would you suggest to help them with their setting expectations and embracing that journey for themselves? Like, was there like a favorite pivotal moment or suggestions that you had that you would give to someone?
Yeah, I feel like knowing, what you want in your own life and not allowing someone to take those things away from you, but being able to communicate. I mean, I think it all comes back to communication. Even before doing this podcast, I reached out to both my fiance and the kid's mom to tell them that I was talking about this topic because out of respect, I wanted to make sure that they knew what was going on. And I just think if you can communicate, if you guys can talk about things that might be bothering you or things you're unsure of or what you want to do, that's always going to be the most beneficial thing. I think that'll earn respect from both parties. And I think it shows that you care and that you want to be involved, but also that you want to respect the boundaries that other people might have and then respect your own boundaries. So I think it comes back to knowing what you want. And if you don't, just knowing how to communicate that regardless.
I love that. So knowing what you want and how to communicate that. And I love the respect for others and your own boundaries. Such important messages and reminders for all of us, for sure. Well, I just think it's beautiful how you've moved into this new stage of life. And it seems like you are in a place where, just based on how you're speaking, you are very confident in who you are and what you want and the direction you're heading. I'm just curious if you have anything else that you'd like to share with anyone who might be listening who is going through something similar or just dealing with any sort of judgment on themselves or judgment or pressure from other people because maybe they're not in the same place that they thought they should be or that other people think they should be. Any last words of advice or encouragement?
I feel like it ties into my last episode of, life is too short. And if you, are getting judged that you didn't take the path that you or that society deems normal, that's okay because you just have to be happy. So even though, a couple years ago, I might have been insecure about being judged for like, oh, you look too young to be in this role, or oh, you are getting closer to 30, you should be married and have children, or all those different things. I think that it's important to know you can grow through that. You can communicate, you can go to therapy, you can talk to somebody, and you can get through that because it's your life and it doesn't matter what other people think. And I think that's, that's the beautiful thing of life, and just be confident in who you are, because that's what matters most. I even feel it from like when I see other moms in the area where we live and at the soccer games and stuff. Like, I'm so much younger, but that's okay. And I can still make friendships and I can still get to know people, and they can help me along the way when I'm ready for my own, growing my family biologically. And I can't wait to see the kids become older siblings. And back to even that, I'm kind of all over the place, but knowing that like the kids, what matters to them is really important. And I think adults putting their things aside to show up for their children is the most important thing. I've had many friends whose parents were divorced and they couldn't be in the same room. And I understand that there's reasons for that. And I'm sympathetic to why that could be. But, I lost my dad at 10 and that was not by choice. So now these kids get to have 3 people that love them. And I think that's so beautiful. And yeah, I just love being in that role. And I love that I am grown out of what I was before when I was feeling really insecure. I am a strong woman and I am confident. And even on the days that I'm not, I can tell myself why I'm here and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that everyone else should be doing the same because it's their life.
Well, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing your story and all of your tidbits of information, because I know it's very helpful. I've had some close friends that have gone through the same situation, and, you don't know what you don't know. And when you are learning and you're learning as a team and a family, I think it's very beautiful that you're able to do this together. And also as friends. So I really appreciate you sharing all this information and being with us today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for giving a platform for women to come and talk about these things, because it's always nice to be able to relate to other people in the world and know that you're not alone. And it's fun that we can all connect through this podcast.
Yeah, I'm so, so happy to have you back again. And I think that everything you've shared has the ability to impact so many people because it's so relatable to, different experiences that are, everyone's experiences are unique, but similar. I think just in terms of the experiencing judgment of where you should be, what you should be doing, timelines, all of that stuff. I want to be sure that everyone knows where to find you so our listeners can stay connected with you if they want. I know you have an Instagram. I know you're teaching at Trim Fitness in Lake Forest. I don't know your current schedule. So maybe if you want to share a little bit more about where people can find you and your schedule there, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. So my Instagram handle is at Erin Koppel. And then I teach at Trim Fitness Studio on Monday mornings, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. I teach Thursday nights, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. And I teach Sunday mornings, 7, 8, 9, 10. So once I'm back from my wedding, you'll see me consistently on the schedule. So I hope to see anyone and everyone there.
Congratulations. And yes, I would love to join and come to one of your classes. And I will be sure to add those details in our show notes. So for those listening, they'll be able to review those later if they're not driving or when they're not driving. And we really appreciate you being here again. And we love having you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
To all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Transforming and Thriving. We'll be back with more inspiring stories on the first Monday of each month. Please follow us on your favorite podcast app and follow us on Instagram so you can be a part of this community and stay up to date with each episode. Please feel free to leave a review so that we can get your valuable feedback and other people can find these powerful stories. Check out our website as well at transformingandthriving.com. We're all in this crazy life together, so let's move through it together. See you there.